US President Joe Biden address COP26, this critical gathering, where people are describing it as the world's last chance to avert a global climate disaster. Now, watching that speech with me is Rob Parsons, our chief foreign editor. Rob, President Biden saying the US is not only back at the table, but leading by example. Is that the case in terms of what they're offering to do?
It's certainly the case in terms of what they're offering to do. The big problem for Joe Biden at the moment is that his package is currently going through Congress and could yet be knocked back. But there's no doubting Joe Biden's intentions and the intentions of this administration to really kickstart the US contribution to fighting against climate change. There's a $555 billion package out there for encouraging switch to reversible energies, inducements and tax reductions and that sort of thing. It's massive. It's bigger than anything that's ever been put out, not just by the United States, but any other advanced country in the world, as Joe Biden himself just said. So if he were to get that through, the message that would send to the rest of the world would be an enormous one. The problem for him at the moment is that he's still in the process of trying to knock that through Congress, and it could see a reverse even yet. But there's no doubting that Joe Biden's intentions are there.
We talk about Joe Biden and his administration, but the reality is there's another election upcoming in 2024. We could have a change of administration at that point, and the whole direction could shift completely in the other direction, couldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, this is part of the problem for the rest of the world watching Joe Biden as he talks, whether it was at the G20 in Rome or now in Glasgow. They like him, they trust him, they agree with his ideas, but at the back of their minds, there's this memory of what happened under Donald Trump, when alliances were thrown out of the window, when the United States pulled out of Paris 2015, and suddenly it looked that the rest of the world was going to have to cope without the United States. The second biggest polluter at the moment on the planet, and historically the greatest polluter, as Joe Biden himself has just admitted, in the world. He said the United States has an obligation to correct the mass pollution that the United States has contributed to global warming over the last few decades. He is committed to doing it, but the question in people's minds is, where are we going to be, as you've just suggested, in 3 years' time when the next election comes around, or even after that, or even from within his own party, because as we see at the moment, there are two members of the Democratic Party that are standing in the way of the legislation that we've just been talking about, which could really kickstart the US contribution to fighting climate change.